Hello, gents. Welcome to the fourth episode of Growing Men, Growing Connections, the space where we're talking about all things the WA Men's Gathering ahead of this year's event, which is the 19th to the 21st of September. I'm Jordan Hackett, your host, and I am really happy to be here again. I've been loving this series, getting to know some of the key individuals that are contributing to this incredible event this year and bringing it together, both elders in the space and newest men in the space like myself. And today I'm joined here by Martin Phillips, who, similar to myself, is a newer man in the space, but has been stomping around the WA men's community for a few years now and actually really deepening into service, is what I'm gathering from the conversations we've just had. So thank you for being here, Martin. I'm really excited to chat to you today, man.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Mm, mm,
I
awesome.
suppose I'm a bit of an elder myself, but as you say, I'm new to this as well at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah, a late
yeah.
starter.
Yeah, I think there's a whole diversity of men out there in these spaces that are at various places on their journey. And I think one of the things I love to witness when men come together in a really authentic way is the humility that can be in the space between us when we drop the masks, drop the competition, and younger
Mm,
men can learn from older men can learn from younger men, and we can all just
yeah,
really be there together. And even just that is such a gift in itself. So
yeah, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. So this year, my friend, you're bringing the drums to the event, and I've heard lots about you from different men as I've been stepping along the path of getting to know this community better. And I'm really
Mm,
excited because I know the deep value, the deep heart and soul of what music, dance, rhythm can bring, and also men really being a part of creating that. Not just listening to it or receiving it, but actually finding their own offering inside of them, which can be quite confronting for a lot of us Westerners because we're quite
yeah.
separated at times from music. And I'm really excited to chat to you a bit about your personal story, but I'd love to start with the drums. Like, if you're happy to tell us, where did this relationship with the drums first start for you?
Um, yeah, just what you were saying before, when men circle up often at these gatherings, we
Mm,
call it circling up. Well, the drum circle is already primed for that,
mm,
because
mm,
that's the optimum sort of like configuration. But now we have drums in
mm.
front of us as well, so they can speak for us.
Yeah,
Um,
beautiful.
so that's what is exciting. So
Mm,
yeah, I had a very charmed artistic upbringing.
mhm.
Um, I now know in the hills in Rolling Stone. And I often like to describe myself as like the storm boy of the hills,
Mm.
which is like a wild. And I had and no one touched my hair. I was like a
Yeah,
bit of a
right.
wild boy. My father and mother were both artists. My mother's a
Mm,
potter, ceramicist, and my father's a painter. And his vision was to build his own art gallery. So I grew
mm,
up having people come to our house at first, and then he built the first of the galleries, which was like a interesting hexagonal module on the hillside in Rolling
mhm.
Stone. And so, and then he built others and a pottery one as well. So they're all hexagons units sort of joined together.
Epic.
And so I grew up working at an art gallery and
Mhm,
creating my own exhibitions and my own work as
mm,
well. And my father was the head of department at the Claremont School of Art. So
mhm,
from high school, it was pretty on a bit of an ordeal. I knew I was going straight to art school. And then from art school, I joined a band because I was playing drum kit. I learned
mm.
drum kit, which was also my mother's input. I was just always tapping my hands and feet when there was music on the radio. And so my mother thought, oh, I better give him. And I was playing with pencils and ice cream containers
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, cool.
So she got me lessons, and I took the train into the drum shop in and Theo's Music at the time it was back in the day,
Mm,
late primary school, and started learning the drums,
mm,
drum kit, formal drum kit. I played in my school band, high school band, and other little bands just from friends and things like that. And then I met at art school, got into a band there, like a sort of a folky punk sort of an indie alternative band, and sort of went from I was still into art a lot, and I still love doing art, but I merged more into the music side of things.
mm,
And then due to my mother as well, she said, "Hey, come and listen to these people from America. They're staying at a friend of ours' place in Rollystone in their spare cottage and see with these marimbas." And I hadn't even heard of the word marimba. I thought she meant
Mm.
maracas or something. And so these were xylophones, and there was a xylophone ensemble that he'd made because he'd
Oh,
learnt the music
wow.
in the West Coast in Oregon in America. And I joined that band. That band became, it was really happy, vibrant, melodic percussion.
Mm.
Uh, that band was called Sundiata Marimba Band and toured Australia a lot. And one of the members of that was Alistair, who was from South Africa, and he'd come over here when he was about 9. And he was like the powerhouse of all drumming in Fremantle for many, many years. And so
Mm.
it was inspirational. I get drawn to other inspirational men.
Mm.
And he was bit of a genius, crazy genius. And uh, started training on drums, West
Mm.
African percussion and other percussion. And yeah, South American stuff as well. And then
Mm.
we started performing as the training group, getting better and better, and then went right into the world music scene and toured Australia in lots of like folk festivals and stuff with
Yeah,
Sundiata and
cool.
other bands. And then we went to Africa, South Africa, and yeah, so I've been delving in it for a long time. And then that guy Alistair started doing workshops in schools because the schools
Mm.
started realizing it was really good for the kids. And then they'd never heard of djembes before, and then they
Mm.
started buying them, And then the drum beat program, which was set up by a student of Alistair's, and that
Wow.
became very popular in Holyoke as a therapeutic kind of way of using drumming for people
Mm.
who um, talking and other forms of therapy just hadn't quite got there.
Mm. Mm.
So the drum beat program became very, very well known, and I started doing workshops in schools as well, learning how to skin drums and replace drum
Mm.
skins.
Mm.
And my then I met the guy from Simon Faulkner who started up the drum beat program, invited this guy Arthur Hull over to Perth to teach drum circle facilitation. And Arthur Hull's like the godfather of the drum circle facilitation movement, and he's a funny little guy. And he really opened my eyes up to not being a rhythm robot where you just learn parts over and over
Mm.
again, but that
Mm.
like just statements like play something you don't know yet, like
Mm.
just don't just be like training's one thing. It's you have to do that as well and learn how to actually where your hands go, and that's
Mm.
helpful,
Mm.
obviously. But just to sort of emphasize the community aspect
Mm.
of in the moment music making
Mm.
more than the actual music itself,
Mm. Mm.
more because of the commonality and the bonding and the belonging
Mm.
that can come. So
I love
that
that
opened
message.
my eyes up.
I feel like that's life lessons right there in that message
Yeah,
around,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like do something you haven't done before, play something you haven't
yeah,
played.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And failure is an option.
Yeah, yes. Yeah,
You don't have to
absolutely.
get it all right all the time, and you don't have
Yes.
to be perfect. And so
Yeah.
a lot of drummers, professional drummers and traditional drummers from different cultures don't really like this sort of jamming together way unless it's
Mm.
professional people jamming
Mm.
together
Mm.
because they're thinking about the music as a quality, and that's fine.
Mm.
But when you've got people from varying backgrounds, disabilities, kids, all present, it's your community, and that's more
Mm.
important sometimes, or as
Mm.
important as
Mm.
learning to play good music together,
Mm. Mm.
skillfully.
Mm.
Yeah. So for me, it's just as important that you can do things. You can bring drums is one of those exotic, but also the exotic, so you might not have touched one before, but also really engaging in the immediate things that you can actually get people all involved and you can make music straight away.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. A bit like a
absolutely.
choir in that
Yeah.
sense. You can do spontaneous choir stuff, simple things.
Yeah.
And that's where my passion is headed into that space of being put into the orchestrational spot, they call it, where you're
Mm.
just put on the spot and you've got to use um, the talent, the rhythmic spirit that's in everybody,
Mm.
but they don't know it. and to bring that out and facilitate it to make easy.
mm,
Facilitation means to make easy, and you don't know what's going to happen, so you're put
mm,
on the spot as
mm,
well, and
mm,
your skills and what you're going to bring out and do. And I love being in that place of unknown, but sort of generating beauty and music and belonging
mm,
and community.
mm.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Yeah, it's a real skill and it's a beautiful gift to whatever spaces you find yourself in, the capacity and willingness to do that. Because I think, as you say, so many things can be pre-practiced or staged, and there's something that's actually
Mm,
really refreshing about the aliveness and the freshness of something that isn't scripted and the unknown. We have such
yeah.
scarce relationship or conscious relationship with the unknown in the Western world. Everything is planned out and measured and predicted. And so
Mm,
to be part of something where it's like we don't know what's going to happen, it's a gift and
yeah.
it's exciting. So I love that that's the way that you bring this to the space, and that that's the opportunity that men have in attending the gathering and experiencing your particular facilitation. They get to
Mm,
interface with this opportunity and this unknown expression that can erupt out of them with however many other guys in circle.
yeah. Yeah. So I owe it all to my mother, really.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, it sounds like the
uh,
rhythm has been cultivated and known in you since a very young age. And as you say, we all have rhythm, but you got to form a really positive external relationship with it very early on, which is fantastic.
yeah. But
Mm,
also, both my parents had a lot of they were quite alternative. So a lot of their records were like indigenous music from different cultures around the
mm,
world.
mm.
They listened to
Amazing.
Arnhem Land or Peruvian or like
Mm,
African, Nigerian or something that was just really strange stuff that you would never heard anywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Fantastic. Cool, man. So yeah, I love this depth that you're holding with the drums, and that's what you're bringing. And it's funny for me because I'm going to refer to you in this moment as having like entered the men's space or the men's workspace more recently. But
Yeah.
in so many ways, the ancient traditions of coming together in music is the foundations of so much that we do actually do in men's work. This circling up,
Yeah.
this coming together as brothers and sitting as equal human beings there to support each other.
Mm.
But I'd love to talk a little bit about, your personal journey. You mentioned to me that just in your story that your mother and father were key to the artist in you, and that they really, they were artists as well. And you also shared with me before we jumped on here that other aspects of your father's way of being in the world and being with you has impacted you and somewhat inspired you in different ways to, or motivated you to, to work on yourself and to explore your inner landscape so that you can be a bit of a different father, a bit of a different man in the world. So I'd love to hear a little bit about
Yeah.
that if you're happy to share.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's always an ongoing journey.
Mm,
Didn't have much like I've seen and met a lot of people that have such full-on trauma in their life and
mm, mm,
full-on things that happen to them. And
mm,
I just felt in some ways a little bit inadequate,
mm,
and partners as well. A
mm,
little bit inadequate that I'd never really had that trauma,
mm,
like um that caused PTSD or CPTSD or
mm, mm,
sexual, anything bad never really happened to me like that.
mm, mm,
I would have called it a good childhood and a really
mm,
rare artistic upbringing where
mm,
I grew up with my father building art galleries at our property in the side of a valley in Rolling Stone, and I basically had a whole valley to explore with eagles
mm,
flying around and
mm,
echidnas and big lace monitors and kangaroos and
mm,
just cliffs and rocks and rivers, and it was just beautiful. I had a beautiful, and that helped to ground me as well. Coming back
mm,
from school or high school,
mm,
would just walk my dog and walk the valleys and the rivers and
mm,
the trees and yeah, that the mossy granite. Our house sat upon granite boulders.
mm,
And then to grow up in working with clay, my mother was a potter, so working with my hands in clay, and then went to art school and just like um, my father was the head of an art school in Claremont, so that was just where I was going, and I already knew a lot of the teachers there because of
mm,
just social life and stuff, and
mm,
yeah, so I do owe him like a lot in that sense of just having a beautiful artistic surrounded by art was like and philosophy and was like integral to being a good human being,
mm, mm.
and I still believe it is. but
mm.
things change
Uh,
over time.
It, it sounds like you had quite a significant relationship with the land and the earth as well, which is really
Yeah,
rare at times these days and beautiful.
yeah. And I
Mm,
tried to, knowing that I was the ancestor of colonists here and it wasn't really my land.
mm,
I made it my land, and I always felt it was, on one hand, my world, of course, being
mm,
nature. Nature's not owned by anybody really, but
mm,
also knowing the history of the
mm.
Aboriginal people and how they were pushed off the land. I found like a grinding stone at a base of a red gum tree, just like 20 meters from the house.
Wow.
And I just, and I didn't see art or anything like that, but like I knew that they were living, must have been
Mm,
living around there at one
mm,
stage. Then there was like little massacres and spearings, and they got
mm,
pushed out basically.
mm,
And so I tried to mythologize my landscape in
mm,
different ways. So I studied Celtic mythology,
mm,
ancestry being Scottish and European, and wrote my own language of runic, kind of made up my own alphabet and wrote that
mm,
on things, and yeah, just mythologized my world, and
mm, mm,
studied Greek and Egyptian mythology, and just to kind of help give meaning to my place in this world.
mm, mm.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
You were speaking to your relationship with your father and what he gave you, and I'm curious, yeah, as well about what else there was there. It sounded like you were going to
yeah. So
share.
yeah, he's from a big family that grew up in the wheat belt, and his father was a headmaster and used to go around teaching at different schools. So he never really stayed in one place for more than three
Mm,
years. We never really
mm,
gained any friends, long-term friends that way, until he sort of hit more Armidale and stayed there for a while. But so that rubbed off on him, which rubbed off on me, which like he's a loner,
mm,
lone wolf kind of character, didn't need
mm,
anybody else, was really self-contained. Um, And I think that I just took that on as that was modeled to me. So I took that on, and it is a strength. And um, I would have liked to have more engagement from him, and still
mm,
do, really. He
mm,
just doesn't, he's really absent from my life like a ghost,
mm,
that he's still
mm,
alive, but he's like never calls or asks me
mm,
about my life or anything like
mm,
that.
mm,
Um, so I would have liked a bit more, but I just take the good bits.
mm, mm,
My mother was the opposite. She was really doting and really loving
mm,
and
mm,
really supportive
mm,
in lots of
mm,
ways. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, so that's a strength that what's the word for it? Lone wolf, independent,
mm.
not needy,
Self-sufficient,
not yeah,
self-secure.
self-sufficient. I think that's a good
Mm,
quality to have, but
mm,
it's
mm,
also I've had to learn things like empathy.
mm,
For others, I've had to actually teach myself
mm,
there's spaces that I might have had trauma, but there's spaces that of things where I need to um, almost make my own woundings, not woundings, but like kick myself up the bum to
mm,
get on
mm,
with, to be motivated to do things sometimes.
mm,
And yeah, so I've had to
mm,
uh, like when I did the New Warrior training 2 years ago, and I knew beforehand as well from doing some counseling that my shadow is anger. Just because it wasn't modeled to me at all in
mm, mm,
my parents didn't fight hardly at all,
mm,
and so my when anger comes up, I don't know what to do, and it's not
mm,
accessible really quickly.
mm, mm,
Whereas I know seeing a lot of other men, it's too accessible and it's
mm,
overcomes, and they
mm,
don't, it becomes a destructive force.
mm,
But for
mm,
me, I actually need more of that.
mm,
Yeah, and I did.
mm,
My father was right into, where mum and dad were right into meditating every day and into
mm.
Buddhism, and I read all his books, which were all like Carlos Castaneda books, and like being egoless. And
Yeah,
so I had to learn to be more have a sense of ego, and
yeah,
to be able to set boundaries when I need to.
yeah,
So I ended up having people walk all over me, and
mm, mm.
yeah, I,
Yeah. What I would call a lot of these kind of core relational skills of being a human, and
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I never.
And you,
It was a
sorry,
good.
you
Again, there's good parts to that as well. I never
go.
defended myself about in relationships. I never felt I
Mm,
had to.
mm,
I was always vulnerable and thinking about their feelings. probably
mm,
before my own, but that
mm,
becomes then you realize you're not loving yourself enough,
mm. Yeah.
and so that quality was like I always thought was that the best quality to have, but no, you need a balance of the two where
Mm,
you can
mm,
actually look after yourself, set boundaries, and love yourself as much as you think you're going to be loved by somebody else.
mm, mm, mm. Yeah, beautiful, man. And I understand you're a father as well, and that your
Yeah,
relationship with your kids is a big motivating force. That you want to be able to be more forthcoming and present and actively loving in their lives. I imagine they're close to adulthood and
yeah.
already there now, but
Like one of my big learnings was like, and partners helped to show this to me as well, because I must have chosen partners that are gonna, well, you do, don't you? That trigger those blind spots, where you're
always.
not. So it was like, you're not listening to me, and I'm going, I know, I thought I was really good at listening, but no, I was hopeless at listening.
Yeah, yeah.
And what they meant was you don't, you're not conveying the. I thought I was like listening to it all
Mm,
logically, rationally,
mm,
and really taking on board what they were saying, which I was, but I wasn't actually emotively understanding them.
mm,
Yeah, they didn't
mm,
feel anything back from me. They didn't
mm,
feel they were being heard.
mm,
It's a
mm.
big difference.
Yeah,
I thought I really was listening,
yeah,
but I wasn't communicating it back to them in an
yes,
empathic way.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
The
they felt not
demonstration of
good or
understanding and shared
yeah,
shared ground and stuff.
yeah. So
Yeah.
being in circle with men has really helped, and having those processes that are a bit sacred, and they're not just chatting,
Mm.
but you use active listening and all other counseling. Really, there's a lot of counseling because I'm studying counseling at the moment. A lot of
Oh, cool.
kind of thing in the Mankind Project and
Mm,
that have been incorporated into these ways because
mm,
they do
mm,
work.
mm,
Yeah,
mm.
and help to empower people. So
Yeah,
it's not
beautiful,
just
man.
like, but I reckon this and I reckon that. It's not a normal,
Totally. Yeah, just a massive unconscious advice giving session, which is what we have
Yeah,
out in the world anyway.
yeah,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
on
cool.
social media. And that's
Totally.
another place I've had to learn to kind of not be glib and really attacking because it's easy when
Mm,
it's
mm,
voyeuristic.
mm,
Yeah,
absolutely,
so I'm
absolutely.
still learning that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so you dove into the Mankind Project's new warrior training a couple of years ago. You were at the gathering last
Yeah,
year, and it sounded to me like from some of the chat we were having that you've just been kind of going around to these various spaces wherever you can and injecting your love, your kind of presence through the drums into those spaces, which I just
yeah,
love. I think service is one of the most effective ways to find a place of belonging. You said something really particular though to me about what you feel like you received from the new warrior training around brotherhood. And I'd just love to hear you touch on that
mm.
if you're happy to.
Yeah. Well, so that whole go it alone thing I inherited from my father. When I did the new warrior training, it's the group of men you're with become your brothers.
Mm,
It's
mm,
like a brotherhood that I didn't know I was missing.
mm, mm,
And not all of them we've kept engaged with, but having the
mm,
I groups that meet has been a good way to keep engaged with them, and any other men that come to the I group that from other trainings and stuff. So that has been a beautiful brotherhood that has filled a space for me that I didn't
mm,
know I was missing. Yeah,
mm, mm. Wonderful,
yeah,
man. What do you
and that
feel like brotherhood means to you in this modern day? Like what are some of the qualities or things that it offers? Because some people might just be plain unaware.
yeah. They often say, "Oh, men are really competitive," and they often say that about women too. But like,
Mm,
men are definitely competitive, and for me,
mm,
I've never felt that
mm,
already. So this brotherhood is I just slide right into it. Like
mm,
it's really uh, it's everything that I want from
mm,
being around men and being having a sense of belonging in my community. Yeah.
mm, mm,
Apart from the other things that I do, it's sometimes you just get gold from being there as a witness with nothing to say
mm,
yourself.
mm,
Just be there as service and support. And so with the drumming, when I brought the drumming to the men's gathering and elemental rhythms and the new warrior training, I don't ask for any money usually. I wanted to just be there to provide that, you
mm,
know,
mm. Yeah, beautiful. Awesome,
as a
man.
yeah, as a form of service.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
beautiful. Yeah. I so much so appreciate our time together, man. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear what you're excited about personally in coming to the WA Men's Gathering this year. Yeah, what about that event is exciting you?
Yeah, this it's good because there's a fair amount of older men there, two elders there, which was a really nice um, um, demographic to meet. When
Mm,
I went last year was my first year, so
mm,
I went, did I? Because the Elemental Rhythms one was a bit more younger
mm,
guys, I suppose.
mm,
I was one of the older ones there, so it was nice to meet the elders
mm,
there as well, um, and have that mixed age range. That was great.
mm,
Um,
mm,
I just want to bring the fire. I want to bring
mm,
the fire. I just love seeing people who've never done this before,
mm,
just seeing their rhythmic spirit come out through the drum, and the
mm,
drum resonates, and the drum is like your personal little speaker, like a PA speaker. It's
mm,
just a vibrating cone. So this is
mm,
a vibrating membrane, and we're all doing it together. And so you can't see these vibrations; it's invisible, but like they're all bubbles of interacting energy that just
mm,
hit us and
mm,
go into our body. And so, and then that can eventually, it can bring a lot of it can bring a lot of stuff out to the
mm,
surface
mm,
inside.
mm,
And of course, drums is about dancing as well. So hopefully,
mm.
we'll have some people will feel feel the spirit and move.
Yes, if
Um,
no one, it'll
but
be
like I
me.
said before, I like being put on the spot, so I don't really have a
Mm,
plan,
mm,
but I have a bucket of skills inside,
mm,
and we'll
mm,
see what happens. I like the I what I like is for the men's energy to really tell me what to do.
mm,
So,
mm,
so as a
mm,
facilitator, we want to make music, but we want to eventually, I want to get out of the way and let it
mm.
happen. And
Yeah.
so you just got to vibe it up so people can trust their body.
Mm,
Because it's really drumming is you don't need your mind.
mm,
Your mind can turn off and just get
mm,
absorbed in the trance state, and we'll see what happens.
mm,
Yeah, I'm excited just to let them the men's energy because it's like a synergy in circle, a
mm,
synergy, and just I don't want to control it so much so that that power doesn't really rise. And you
mm,
can do that a bit if you're being a conductor.
mm,
I want
mm,
to get past the level of conducting. So you got to start with a bit of conducting and direction, be the
mm,
director, but I want to get past the level of conducting so
mm,
people are self-facilitating. And
mm,
then there's a whole lot of stuff level you can get to.
mm, mm.
Who knows what's going to come?
Who
But it,
knows? I love it.
yeah, the
And I
fire
love
of
what you
man.
said. Yes, the fireman and that's wild because I literally was just looking at the one of the things I'm offering today, and I wrote down the fire of man, and it was from a very different perspective, but that core energy and really bringing that out. So I
Yeah,
absolutely love that we're on the same page there. And I
yeah,
love that you're not bringing a fixed plan, as you said, a bucket of skills, and also what I hear are some really beautiful and powerful intentions, that are
yeah,
really going to move the space. So that's so wonderful.
yeah. I wanted to also bring a bit of vocals in as well. I want to try
Mm,
getting more singing happening.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
we've always got that element there waiting right under our
mm,
nose.
mm, mm,
So like, I want to bring a bit of that vibration in too because it's melodic.
mm. Beautiful, man. Wonderful. Well, I am personally looking forward so much to being there with you, to experiencing your guidance, your facilitation, and also your letting
Yeah, I
go,
can't wait.
and to get to meet you in the flesh. So thank you for
Mm,
being here with me today to chat, and I'll see you in about 6 weeks.
we could. Let's make it
Yeah,
happen.
perfect, Martin. Thank you, mate. Appreciate your time.
Bye.